What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be back talking about NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. So this isn't necessarily going to be it for today. Probably going to do another, well, I'm probably going to make a 2K20 gameplay, one of my final squad builders for the year, and then I'm probably going maybe do another video on the demo. But yeah, so if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We upload more NBA 2K21 MyTEAM content. Well, we will upload more MyTEAM content than anywhere else. We uploaded more 2K20 content, and just even look at the last week, we're still out here uploading 2K20 gameplays with 2K21 demo gameplays with 2K21 MyTEAM speculation. So if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. But in this video, we are going to be talking about something that I feel has gone a little bit under the radar, and I think it's going to have a massive effect on the game mode. And in my opinion, this is going to be the exchange. So what is the exchange? The exchange is basically like sets in Madden, or a little bit like SBCs. I'm not entirely sure how sets in Madden work, but I'm pretty sure it's very similar to like squad builder challenges in FIFA. So the way it works is that it's going to be something like you need to lock in a certain amount of players for a different player. And if you guys are just looking at this picture right here, you can see the first example of one for a Bob Cousy, where it's like one diamond player, a couple of amethyst players from the Lakers, a few more amethyst players, and then a bunch of original owner players at the end of the bench. So basically what this means is that you're going to be seeing a lot of people locking in for these cards, because locking in for stuff is almost never worth it. Just like I've always said in locking in sets in general, that they really are never worth it, but people still do it. People still do it. One interesting thing is that I assume when you lock in cards in the exchange, they just go completely and they're not just locked in like NBA 2K20. And then if you have a set locked in, for example, if you have a set locked in for tokens for current NBA players, what happens then when you lock in said players? When you have those guys locked in, does that mean that you can't put them into exchange, or does it mean you can't put them in exchange? So it will kind of be, it'll be a little bit weird to see. But anyway, now we are going to talk about the main purpose of this video, how it is going to affect NBA 2K21 MyTEAM in the entire game mode. So I think that this is going to have a massive effect on the market. Whether it be early on in the year, whether it be late, it doesn't matter. I think from start to finish, it is going to have a huge effect on the market. And I'm going to explain that right now. So I'm going to split it up into kind of minor ways it'll affect it and huge ways it'll affect it, and explain how that's going to affect it. Because the marketplace is a huge thing in 2K. The marketplace is a massive thing in 2K, and as much as people like to say it's not really technically part of the game, it's something on the side, there are entire YouTube channels, there are entire people that stream basically an auction house simulator, because there are people that like to see that, people buying low, selling high. The likes of Space Word Bird, Energetic, JD have made millions and millions of MT out of this over the last year. So now we are going to talk a little bit about that. So the entire marketplace is based on supply and demand. Most of the time, there are certain cards that are being artificially inflated in price due to coin sites, which it's going to happen in 2K21. But in general, the market is going to be supply and demand, or it should be in supply and demand. We don't know what way the coin sites are going to affect the market in 2K21. So with it being supply and demand, it means that if the demand is high for certain cards and the supply is high as well, it's going to be kind of even. If the demand drops a lot as well as the supply dropping, they're going to be the same price, as well as if the demand drops and the supply stays the same, they're going to drop in price. We saw that towards the end of the year. Cards that kind of were a bit rarer, their demand was not that high, but their supply was really low, so they'd be a lot more expensive. But as the demand dropped through the floor, even though the supply still didn't remain the same, or the supply wasn't high, they still were getting cheaper. As well as that, things like when we saw the 1,000 token packs, when everyone was pulling their Rashard Lewis cards, all of a sudden Rashard Lewis's price goes from 2.5 million MT to 500k because the supply goes so much and the demand actually wasn't as high because nearly everyone had gotten Kareem at that stage. So things like that are always going to affect the market. But the way that these sets are going to do is the demand for players that go lock into these sets, because they said they're going to start adding them in sometimes during the season. So for example, if there's a pink diamond, or let's say early on the year, there's a pink diamond Xavier McDaniel, like last year, who's going to be a god in game, and the demand for that card is quite high. Everyone kind of wants that card. But yeah, you need, I don't know, 2 Amethyst current Lakers. And the only Amethyst current Lakers are LeBron and AD. So you either can lock in 2 LeBrons or you can lock in a LeBron or an AD. So all that's going to do is, because the demand for these cards is going to be so high, while the supply might initially be high, the price is going to go up because the demand goes up. But then everyone who buys the cards initially starts locking them in. So all that then happens is that the supply gets lower and lower and lower, and the demand stays the same. It might be a little bit different because these guys are always going to be in packs. They might go back up in price. But for example, if, I don't know, if, let's just say Lights Out promo is a thing, and you need Lights Out Amethyst players, and suddenly all those the Lights Out packs are gone, and suddenly all the Lights Out Amethyst players are being locked in for either the set reward or they're being locked in for these exchanges, then all of a sudden these certain players may end up being extinct. So if they put temporary cards that are temporarily in packs, all of a sudden it goes into a Rashard Lewis situation where there could be 2-3 of them up on the market, and where both the cards themselves are almost unattainable, as well as the cards that end up going in for the exchange. And also it could have another weird effect. So for example, if a couple of exchanges are, you need 12 bronze players for a lot of kind of the early exchanges. So people are going to be stocking up on bronze players being ready for these exchanges. And their prices, for example, of them might go up. And then, I get it, they're not the most relevant things in game, but maybe later on in the year, it ends up being all, say, Sapphire players. So people are then stocking up on Sapphire players, stocking up on Ruby players, maybe paying 3-4k MT. And then all of a sudden, the exchange comes out and it says original owner. What happens then? Suddenly everyone's selling all their Ruby cards and the entire market for that entire tier drops. Like, it's hard to predict how exactly it's going to change the market. But these exchanges, just like MyTEAM Limited, where I'm going to be talking a little bit how MyTEAM Limited is going to change the market in a little bit, these exchanges are going to completely change, because depending on how good the card is, because when they lock in, the card vanishes. It is something that is going to be constantly reducing the supply of the card. Unless the card is being, well, not even the card's being pulled a lot, the cards just vanish. Those cards just completely vanish when they are put into the exchange. So if there's say 10,000 people that lock in for a specific exchange, and there's 15,000 of the cards in existence, suddenly if they all lock in, you might end up seeing a situation where if there's, say, certain specific cards where they lock in, where there's only 1/3 of that card remaining, and that pushes up the price a bunch of it. So it's going to be a really weird one. So I think sitting on cards could be, like, investing sitting on certain cards might be the move, because again, for locking in for exchanges, you just never know what's going to happen, and suddenly cards are going to be really rare. It's going to be a weird situation. It is going to be a really, really weird thing, because I think in terms of just sitting on cards, you've got a choice a lot of the time of sitting on them and making profit on the auction house, as well as using the exchange to put them in and get the cards. I normally would advise, unless, say, the exchange says original owner cards, where there's just no point in, like, trying to work the market on original owner cards. I think in general that we're looking at a concept that could work well. And we're looking at a concept that may not be a positive or a negative. We're looking at something that's definitely going to change the market. It's going to change the way everything is. It's going to change the way we look at every individual card. It's going to change the way we invest. It's going to change the way we snipe. It's going to change all filters. It's going to just completely change this game from the market perspective. And as much as people like to kind of downplay how much this is going to change things and just think about it as, oh, this is a cool new feature, this is while yes, it is just a cool new feature, but it's something that will change the way that it won't change the way we play the game mode, but it'll change the way we look at the game mode, and it will change the way we have to look about buying cards and just kind of keeping clued in a lot of the time to what's going on in the game mode. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of MT. You're going to lose a hell of a lot of MT if you're not clued in. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's robbing. Tyson with the fade, not the hair, my hands rocking. When I link with ball point, you know